Hello, fellow YouTubers, truth seekers, and Mandela affected. I am Darkwolf, and this is Darkwolf's Den. This is Mandela Effect Theory Series number 12. This is the evolution theory. Evolution theory states that due to a number of factors, which we will list and discuss to some length, the Mandela effect is merely the side effect of something far greater going on involving 2012, the age of Aquarius, and even junk DNA. So, again, there's a variety of variables and factors going into this. First would be brainwave frequency. Then we have the age of Aquarius, the Schumann Resonance, 2012, empathy in HD, and junk DNA. And I know what you're thinking, these sound like game show slots. They kind of do, don't they? But that's off topic. Anyway, the first variable would be brainwave frequency. This part of the theory states that the variation in Mandela effect experiences is due to the variable frequencies present within and between individuals. So to put that in more of a layman's term speak, a person's experience as part of the Mandela effect is dependent upon that person's frequency at that time. By frequency, I mean brainwave frequency, and we'll get into more of that in a second. Due to the changing frequencies from a number of factors around us, which we will also momentarily get into. So, moving on. Speaking about brain waves, we must understand the different types of brain waves because this is very, very important for what we are doing. So I have a link up here in the very top. If anybody wants to source my material, feel free to go ahead and do such. I always challenge anybody who wants to challenge me, please. So going into brain waves, there are 5 types of brain waves. We have the delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma. So let's start with delta. Delta is 0 to 4 hertz. It is the slowest of the brain waves. Usually controls the unconscious functions like, breathing and sleeping and all the things we do without thinking about. This is primarily found in infants and children. And like I said, it's mainly to do with sleep. That is the lowest of all the brain waves, lowest activity. So then you have the theta, 4 to 8 hertz of activity. The higher theta would be, the side effects would be ADHD, depression, hyperactivity, impulsivity, and inattentiveness. The lower theta waves would be anxiety, poor emotional awareness, and even stress. But when you have optimal theta waves, you get creativity, emotional connection, intuition, and even relaxation. Next, we have the alpha wave. These are 8 to 12 hertz. I put here that this is what the Schumann was. I was actually a little incorrect. It would fall into the theta waves because it was 7.83 for a very long time. Hundreds of years, actually, which we'll get into later also. So forgive me, I put that in the wrong slot. But it does connect our consciousness and our subconsciousness, which is vitally important. When it is raised alpha waves, we have daydreaming, inability to focus, and way too relaxed. When our alpha waves are lowered, we have anxiety, high stress, insomnia, and even OCD. Next, we have beta waves. Beta waves are 12 to 40 hertz, and they're pretty much what a human runs at now. The adrenaline would be higher with increased beta waves. We would have higher anxiety, higher arousal, and inability to relax and higher stress, opposed to lower theta waves would have such side effects as ADHD, daydreaming, depression, and poor cognition. Optimal beta waves would be responsible for conscious focus, memory, and problem solving. Things to increase beta waves would be something like coffee, energy drinks, or even various stimulants. And then we have the highest, the 40 to 100 hertz. These are responsible. The higher gamma waves are responsible for anxiety, high arousal, stress. Apologize for yawning in everybody's ear there. And the lower ones are responsible for ADHD, depression, and even learning disabilities. So when our gamma waves are higher, we learn better, and when they're lower, we don't. Optimally would be binding the senses, cognition, information processing, learning, and perception. I've also got down here that during meditation is when we would find our highest gamma waves, ironically and interestingly enough. So, now that we've learned this little bit of information, let's see if we can't connect it a little bit. Brainwaves determine our perception of the world. Therefore, if anything alters our brainwaves, it will definitely alter how we perceive everything around us. For instance, if one takes something like acid, LSD, it changes the brainwaves to perceive colors and sounds much, much more vividly. Moving on, we now have the Age of Aquarius. I want everybody to keep the previous information we just went over in mind. I promise I'm actually leading somewhere. So, our next topic would be the Age of Aquarius. And a lot of people speak about this, so I feel that we should define exactly what it is. It is an astrological term denoting either the current or forthcoming astrological age, depending on your method of calculation. Astrological ages, however, proceed in the opposite direction or retrograde in astronomy. Therefore, the age of Aquarius follows the age of Pisces, and I got this information from Wikipedia. I like to give sources when I do my videos just so people can go back and verify everything I've said and where I got my information from. If you equalize the size of the signs of the zodiac, you need to consider when the age of Pisces started to be able to know when the age of Aquarius begins. Of course, you don't know when one starts, you don't know when it ends to begin the next one. Well, apparently there's no real consensus among all the astrologers as to when it began, so there's no consensus as to when the age of Aquarius began. This information comes from Human World by Bruce McClure and Deborah Boyd. Um, Personally, this is Darkwolf speaking. I think that we have entered or are entering the age of Aquarius right now. That is not based on any information besides my own personal beliefs. So, the age of Aquarius, you hear a lot of people talk about could be, this, that, and the other. I have a feeling that the age of Aquarius is upon us for a reason connected to the Mandela Effect. We'll get into that more deeply here in a moment. Next, we have the Schumann Resonance. Now, this is something you hear Dr. Taryn Lupo talk about a lot. For hundreds of years, it was at 7.83. It's known as the Earth's heartbeat. And the oddity is that for a long time it was at 7.83, but now it is not. So what is the Schumann resonance? This global electromagnetic resonance phenomenon is named after physicist Winifred Otto Schumann, who predicted it mathematically in 1952. Again, this information is from Wikipedia. For those who watch the show know, we use Wikipedia a lot. The Schumann resonance is defined by the amount of lightning strikes or plasmatic release hitting the Earth at any given moment. The vibrations get trapped between the ionosphere and the Earth, and this is recorded as the Schumann resonance. So the more lightning strikes we have, the higher the resonance would be. The lower the lightning strike number, the lower the resonance would be, because it's sending the vibrational frequencies around the planet, depending on how much plasmatic chaos is released. So, does the Schumann frequency affect humans? Short answer, yes, it does. We are actually directly connected to the Earth's vibrations. And there's been studies done where astronauts have went into space, and after so long of being disconnected from the vibration of the Earth, their body actually becomes physically sick and does not work as properly as it should. So, the Schumann resonance is very, very important to the human body. When the Schumann resonance is high, people tend to get extremely on edge, are easily aggravated, and just very, very fight or flight response type. Whereas when the Schumann resonance is lower, we're more calm, we're more happy, more loving, more open to ideas. And I have found this in my own life. And this makes a lot of sense to me because, well, the reason for this is most likely because our reaction to the Earth's heartbeat directly affecting the frequency of our brain waves. Now, let me back up a minute. The Schumann resonance is, again, it's a vibration. So when it's going higher, it's kind of like a high heartbeat. When your heartbeat is increased, you're very on edge. It's a fight or flight response. You've got to go. You got to do. You're waiting for the next thing to go wrong. Whereas when your heartbeat is lower and more calm, you're more relaxed, you're more happy, more loving, and aren't in that stressed fight or flight mode. So it is very, very much true that the Schumann resonance directly affects humans, mainly because of our brain waves and its interaction with the frequency of our brain waves. For instance, on Easter Sunday, the Schumann resonance spiked up to 90, which, may I add, is the highest spike we've ever recorded since we've been recording the Schumann resonance. And that put people on edge a lot, at least in my own experience. Some people have speculated, this is not Darkwolf talking, this is what people have told me. They believe that it could be due to the raising could be due to the power of everyone's consciousness focused on prayer. Consciousness does affect reality. There's something called the Consciousness Project, and you can find that on the same website you find the Schumann Resonance. I think it's Heart Life or Heart Matters. You look it up. I forgot to post it. I'll try to post it in the bottom if I can remember. Heart Math, that's what it was, heartmath.org. Anyway, they also cover the Global Consciousness Project, and this was set up around 2000 or so. Maybe 99, year 2000. And what happened is this person or these people put random number generators all over the world in random spots. And the idea is if they all hit the exact same number randomly, then our consciousness could be affecting the outcome. So say all the random number generators hit 7 at the exact same time. Perhaps our consciousness affected that change. Perhaps it hit 7 repeatedly over and over and over and over. Then it's even more idea that our consciousness or our group consciousness, mind you, I'm not talking an individual, I'm talking the entire overall group consciousness of the planet, most likely affects this, which means it affects reality. I say most likely because there's evidence to back this up. There was one huge spike about a year after they started it, and this happened to be the day of September 11th, 2001, also known as 9/11. The oddity here is the spike didn't begin at 9:30 or 8:30 or whatever time the event occurred. No, 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 no. The spike occurred from midnight to midnight on September 11th. So there was something in our consciousness before that ever happened, and we knew something was about to happen. I just find that so intriguing. But moving on. One last note. For hundreds and hundreds of years, it stayed at 7.83, the Schumann resonance. And it's only been the last couple of years that it's began to raise and lower very inconsistently. Now, this is my assumption that this has to do with weather modification being used, because as we learned moments ago, the Schumann is determined by the amount of lightning being released at any given moment on planet Earth. So, if the weather modification, say HARP, shooting heated energy into the ionosphere and is bouncing back down, it would most likely have that effect on the Schumann resonance. Also, increasing the amount of thunderstorms across the planet is going to have the same effect on the Schumann resonance, which I believe weather modification could very well be a high likely source for this. So please be sure to hit that thumbs up and let us know you liked it. This is part 1 of a 2-part video. So you're probably asking, what does this have to do with Mandela Effect? Well, it's got a lot to do with Mandela Effect, actually. Because as we discussed in the beginning, our brainwaves are perception. The way we perceive the world is how our brainwaves are functioning at any given moment. So if we have even these 3 factors interacting with our brainwaves, it actually could cause a whole lot of oddities, what we would know as Mandela effects. Now, on this note, I would like to go back a little bit to the age of Aquarius, because there's one more thing I'd like to say about this. It is my theory, and it is a theory that I am injecting here, that when we move into different areas of stars, we're receiving the vibrations from those stars, both light vibrations and electromagnetic frequency scales all the way across the board. As we were in Pisces, we experienced life in the world a certain way. But it's my belief that as we start to get the vibrations from the stars coming out of the Aquarius constellation, that perhaps those vibrations interacting with the earth is changing how we perceive everything around us, if not even through our brainwaves themselves. Two examples I will give. The one I always give, and I know everybody gets sick of hearing me say it, but the Berenstain Bears. What if, because of the light frequency changing, because understand reflection is nothing more than reflection of the light frequency that comes into our eyes. So if we're seeing it one way and the light shining on it changes, we could potentially be seeing it another way. Well, what does that have to do with things we hear, like music changing and songs changing? Again, it's frequency. So if the frequency are being altered before it comes into our bodies or our eardrums specifically, then very well possible that it is only being altered to our perception and that it could have been this way the entire time. I know that's a wild thought to wrap your head around, but it could have been. So all these factors go into the idea that perhaps that all these things are changing our brainwaves and how we experience the world. And it's by that measure that we are experiencing the Mandela Effect through frequency changes. Changes of the Earth's frequency, changes of the frequencies coming into the Earth, and both of these affecting our brainwaves. Now, I believe that when the Schumann resonance goes up, our brainwaves go down, and vice versa. And I think it's a rubber band effect, up and down, back and forth. That is only an idea. I'm more personally going towards the idea of weather modification being the cause of the changing in Schumann. Again, if you like this video, if you like anything any YouTuber does, please be sure to hit that thumbs up and let us know. And what this does, it not only is a thank you to the video maker, but it is also how YouTube rates our videos and rates us as video makers. So please, if you like something a video maker does, hit that thumbs up, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit all them buttons except the dislike. But if you do dislike it, make sure to spread that too. Also, yes, remember to hit the bell, because if you don't hit the bell, you will not get notifications for our future episodes. So make sure you get notified by hitting that bell also. Last but not least, everybody remember, stay awake, but dare to dream. Now, I would like to give one last note. For those who don't know, I am a co-host of the Rockinati show with UniRock. We try to do these every night. You can find those also on my channel. Please check them out. We do cover Mandela effects along with a variety of other topics. So check out the Rockinati show. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe if you like what we do. We appreciate everybody. Thanks, y'all. See you next time on the Theory Series, part 2 of the evolution theory. Thanks, everybody. See you later.